I really like the fact that we had that breakout right here, right? So we had news coming in that Russia was bringing back troops or moving troops away, further away from Ukraine, and some other, positive news coming out from that situation, which kind of created a risk-on environment, right? So we saw a lot of moves this morning, and Bitcoin broke above the 43K area. Well, to be exact, it's the around the 42.3K area, right? So we broke above the daily 50 EMA. So what's going on right now is Bitcoin is now trading above the daily and 50 EMA. So according to my system, I can only go long if the asset I'm looking at is above the daily and 50 EMA, and I can only go short if that same asset is below the daily or 50 EMA. So I'm basically defining the higher time frame trend. Of course, I'm also looking at market structure, but I'm also defining that trend by the daily 20 and 50 EMA. So you can see here that price is now above the daily 20 and 50 EMA, and that's the first part of the system, right? The second part is looking for a retrace in a trending move, right? So the trending move would be, I guess you could say it's going to be this one with a somewhat of an uptrend right here. But let's just say that we have let's start with this one, right? So we have a high, a low, higher low, and then potentially this might turn into an even higher high. But before we get that higher high, I do expect some type of resistance being hit somewhere in this area, previous resistance. We're currently hitting this resistance area right here. And I do expect price to, at some point, retrace. I don't care exactly where it retraces or when it starts to get rejected, but I do expect some type of retrace to happen. Like, it always happens, right? Now, that's when I use the 4 hour, 20 and 50 EMA. So you can see here that the blue solid line is the 20 EMA in the 4 hour, and the gray solid line is the 4 hour 50 EMA. So you can expect these to start moving higher, in the with every new 4 hour candle close, obviously. So if we do have a 4 hour rounded retest, you could expect the 20 EMA 4 hour be around this area and the 50 be around this area. Now that would be confluent with the daily 50 EMA and the breakout area. What I'd like to do as well, when you have a low and a high, so when this move starts to retrace, right, like that, you have a low and a high to fib. So what I do in that case is I add the fibs to the low and the high. And if this would be the high, the local high where we get rejection, you'll see that this area is also confluent with you got the 50% favor here and the 618 right here. You got the reload zone right here, which makes me think that you might see something like this with a wick down to the weekly open. And I would go long somewhere in this area if the 4 hour stochastic starts moving below 30, right? So if stochastics are assigned, the 4 hour moves below 30, while we get a rounded retest of the 4 hour 20 and 4 hour 50 EMA, confluent with the daily 50 EMA. If that happens, I will go long on Bitcoin, and this will be the setup, right? Now, the profit targets will be dependent on what the fib looks like at point of entry. So maybe we'll get a move up here and then a retrace. If we do get that, I will have to move the top of the fib obviously higher, right? To and also if we do get a move up here, you'll see that the 618 is in perfect conflict with the breakout area. So it's all about waiting for the retrace, and that when that rejection and retrace happens, you adjust the fib accordingly, right? But let's say that this is the top. Let's say that this is the top, and this is where we're gonna get a rejection. Well, then this would be the setup. We wait for price to come down and hit the 50% or the 618 with stochastics below 30. And at that point, I want to see a 4-hour bullish engulfing candle. That would be my entry trigger. So let's say we have a beautiful 4-hour, look at that big fat candle right here. This is a beautiful 4-hour bullish engulfing candle. It looks exactly like the real one. And now it's gone. Weird. Anyway, if that 4-hour bullish candle closes like that, I would probably enter on the candle close and then put stop loss probably below the daily 20 EMA, right? And my TP1 would be the 0% fib, but in this case right here, I would probably TP at around right below 45k because of this resistance area right here. So TP1 would probably be around 45k, depending on, again, what the exact move, the low and high, how that looks at the point of confirmation. But this is just a general rough idea of how the setup might look. What I would do in this case is I would probably take 50% off of this position somewhere around here, move stops to entry, and then let 50% of the position stay open for higher targets. And that higher target, remember, the first TP is around that area, right? So where would the higher target be? Well, obviously would be at the next major resistance area, which in my opinion is around right above 50k actually. So you know what, let's put it at like 49.9 or something like that. So this would then be the setup where you exit around, around 50% here and then 50% up here. So the risk to reward on this trade is not bad. It's going to be 3R. So that's what I'm looking at. There's a couple of different ways to play this. I'm just going to try it out to do 50-50 in terms of TP. So that's how I'm looking to trade Bitcoin going forward. I will not put in any blind orders or just put in buy orders. I'm just going to wait for confirmation. That confirmation is hit the 43k area, print a 4-hour bullish engulfing while everything else align, and that would then be my entry, my entry trigger for that setup.